Welcome to Mr. Chalk's Revision Tips. In this video, we will look at anaerobic respiration, fermentation, and how we can look at this practically. So, unlike aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration does not need oxygen. So it is the release of a relatively small amount of energy in cells by the breakdown of food substances in the absence of oxygen. So glucose is not completely broken down, so less energy is released. So there is a buildup of lactic acid in muscles during vigorous exercise. So this lactic acid needs to be oxidized to carbon dioxide and water before the body can get rid of it. And this causes an oxygen debt that needs to be repaid rapidly after exercise has stopped. So the equation below describes anaerobic respiration. So if we look at that equation, how can we tell that it is anaerobic? The key thing that you have to put would be that no oxygen is being used. Exercise cannot be sustained when anaerobic respiration takes place in muscle cells. Explain why. So the key things to talk about is that lactic acid is produced, which causes muscles to become fatigued and stop contracting. So, fermentation occurs when yeast breaks down sugars in the absence of oxygen. So, fermentation is used to make alcoholic drinks such as beer and wine. Carbon dioxide gas is also produced during fermentation. So, the equation that takes place is that glucose is converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide. So, if we look at how this is done practically, we start off with wheat being ground up, so this increases its surface area and releases stored glucose. Next we add water and yeast to it. So large pieces even of solid material is separated from the liquid. So the mixture then enters the fermenter where the glucose is converted into alcohol. So the water and alcohol is then separated by distillation, and this is done by allowing the ethanol vapor to rise, and it is then cooled down and condensed back into liquid ethanol. So the diagram below shows an experiment investigating anaerobic respiration in yeast cells. So we've got tube A and tube B. Tube A is where we've got the yeast cells respiring. Tube B is where we've got lime water. So what is the purpose of the liquid paraffin in tube A? Key thing that we need to talk about is that it's stopping the air getting in. So it's making sure that they have to respire without oxygen. So the indicator solution in tube B changes in the concentration of carbon dioxide increases. So the indicator, like we've said, is lime water. So what colour would you expect it to change during anaerobic respiration? Right, it would turn white because carbon dioxide is still being produced. So it's just how the experiment could be changed to give a reproducible way to measure the rate of reaction. So we could collect the carbon dioxide gas with a measuring cylinder or a gas syringe, so in a certain amount of time, which would give us some actual physical data to go and use. So we're comparing anaerobic respiration in yeast cells to anaerobic cells in respiration in muscle cells. The key things to talk about is that the yeast cells are producing ethanol, but muscles produce lactic acid. Yeast cells produce carbon dioxide, but muscle cells don't, but both release small amounts of energy by anaerobic respiration. So if we describe how you could use tube B to measure the rate of reaction in tube A, you could count the number of bubbles, you could measure the volume of gas in a given time, you could also go and time how long it took for the lime water to change colour. And this table just goes and compares anaerobic respiration. So we can see there that aerobic respiration requires oxygen, anaerobic respiration doesn't. Aerobic respiration produces more energy than anaerobic respiration. and such forth. So scientists investigated the production of lactic acid by an athlete running at different speeds. So why is more lactic acid made in the muscles when running at 14 kilometers per hour than 8 kilometers per hour? So the key things that you need to talk about is that more energy is needed, so not enough oxygen can be taken in, which causes an oxygen debt. So more anaerobic respiration occurs to supply the energy needed to the muscles. However, this creates lactic acid.
Thanks for watching.